All right, it's 2 o'clock. I think we're ready to start. It's always very drowsy after lunchtime. Oh, I'm drowsy. Okay, I'll call out your names. Oh. Delia? Yeah. Sam? All right. Kasif? Not yet. Tirlo? Here. Hassan here. Yunjin? Alright. Arafat? Not yet. Islam? Oh, yeah, we're not. Hati? Yes. Yerin here. Khan here. Terry here. Alicia here. Okay. Alright, so for today, it's an important class today because I'm going to let you know how to write the proposal for final term exam. So I'm going to let you know how to write a proposal for international negotiation. So for the first half of the class, I'm going to teach you the structure, and then in the second half of the class, we'll actually do the proposal writing together. Okay? Alright, close the remote. Okay. Alright, step 1, define your objectives. Who's talking?
Identify your goals. Clarify your needs. Before you begin writing a proposal, take the time to clearly define what you want to achieve.
Right.
These objectives could be specific, achieving a particular price, securing certain terms in a contract, or setting a timeline for delivery, or more general, establishing a long-term partnership, improving terms from previous agreement, and consider short-term versus long-term goals. Think about both immediate and future needs. Sometimes a short-term sacrifice might lead to long-term gains. For example, you might accept a lower price now in exchange for a larger volume of commitment or exclusive rights later.
Alright, so all the stuff that we are going over today, actually we've learned it today. It's more like a summary of everything that we've learned. So you will actually feel that it's quite familiar, but you will have to put all the components, all the elements within the proposal. And the proposal will be in the presentation form, not in the paper writing, okay? But I think it's better for us to actually go over the scenario first so that I can give you an example. So we're actually doing this, yes, oh. So this is the scenario that you have to write your proposal on. So I'm going to go over the scenario together, and I'm going to let you know how to write the proposal based on the scenario, okay? Terry, could you read the second page? Yeah. This one, sorry. Yeah.
Confronting globalization. Challenge students to examine the effects of globalization.
Sorry. I think it's the second from the last. Oh, I changed it at the last minute, sorry, during the lunchtime. So do you have a link? I mean, can you, yeah.
Rapid improvements in transportation and communication technologies have linked the world in ways few could have even a generation ago. The term globalization is used to describe the numerous processes and characteristics of this ever-shrinking world, yet globalization itself remains an ambiguous term. Is globalization strictly an economic phenomenon with trade alone driving the process, or are there political, social, and cultural dimensions as well? Do all of these dimensions have equal impact, or are some more important than others? How do these factors affect each other and produce different outcomes in different countries?
Right.
As the world continues to become increasingly interconnected, there remains a great deal of uncertainty about how the effects of this concept we call globalization will unfold.
Right, so topic of international negotiation is the globalization. So this is the central topic. And you actually, okay, let's read the second page. Okay.
The United Nations has designated 2019 to be the year of globalization and has set out an ambitious agenda of international meetings and ceremonies to take place during that year. Because it is an issue that affects all nations and because the boundaries of the issue itself are so uncertain, the UN has opted to begin preparation a few years in advance.
Right.
As part of this preparation, the UN has asked for input from a diverse group of countries in order to ensure a wide range of perspectives are represented. To do so, the UN has created a globalization working group, GWH, made up of a small number of countries representing a variety of regions, economic status, cultural backgrounds, and political perspectives. This group has been asked to consider how globalization affects countries on a number of issues to identify potential crucial elements of the process and, if possible, to offer solutions about how globalization can work to benefit all nations. The following countries have been asked to join the GWH based on the range of perspectives they bring to the issues and the variety of experiences they have had in facing the opportunities and challenges of globalization. The countries are Nigeria, United Kingdom, China, Iran, Mexico, and Russia. Your countries have been asked by the Secretary General of the United Nations to come together to discuss issues related to globalization in three general categories of concern: economic, political, and sustainability issues.
Right. So this is the scenario. Sustainability. So the central topic is globalization, and you're basically forming globalization working group, and you represent one country. I mean, this is a scenario that's been adopted by the University of Maryland curriculum, so you don't necessarily have to take one of these. Alicia can represent France, you know, like you can actually, Terry can represent Philippines, but if you have like more than 2 people from the same country, then you have to split. So how many people do we have in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13. Alright, so I think we can split into 3 groups. So 3, 13, so 4 or 5, okay? So could we actually sit together, 4 or 5 together? Okay, so you guys have, oh, it's a man's group. Oh, Hassan, you're the only man here. Yeah, so form a group in 4 or 5. Yeah. So mix woman and man together. Okay. Oh, do it now. We're actually going over it together now, so you can split it now. Split the country. So like, if you, yeah, country by country. So you can't have 2 Bangladesh students in one group. We'll have 3 groups, but you know, like people from the same country, they have to split.
We should be divided in 2 groups?
3 groups.
3 groups.
In 4 or 5 people.
Okay.
The Koreans have to split. You have 3 Koreans, right? So Koreans split. Bangladesh split. Uzbek split. Okay? You Pakistan 1, Philippine 1, so you guys can join whenever. And like, I think it's better to split the woman and man, you know, so not all the male group or the female group, okay? They're left on their own.
Whether you or you just join this group?
Cons.
We already have information.
Oh, you all have.
Yeah.
I think they're quite happy. Oh, okay. So she's going over that group. Oh, Con is going to join the group then. Alright? So you guys are fine, but you have like 6 people then. Oh, Con is going to. Alright, okay, that's. So who's the first group? You have to have at least 4 people in one group. At least 4 people. 5? Well, what about you guys then?
Yeah,
At least 4 people in one group.
She was here. She.
So you guys have to sit
anyone
here.
can Join this.
Yeah.
Anyone
Yeah. Sit here and then someone have to. Yeah, somebody has to go. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. If Ron is here, then yeah, they can form one group. You guys are from the same country?
Yes.
We have 4 relatives.
Alright, so Hassan, can you be a representative of another country? Which other country you want to represent?
Which country?
Any country of your interest? Germany? Okay, you can represent Germany. Okay.
He's in that group.
No, Con is in this group. Alright. Con, could you sit here? Alright. Can somebody sit with him? Okay. Oh, we got to. No, here, together. This is very important. This is going to be a final exam, but I can tell you that, I'll try to give as good grades as possible, so don't freak out. I'm trying to help out.
So it is for final term?
Yeah, this is a final term exam. We're preparing for the final term exam today, so it's very important, but don't freak out. I'm trying to help you out as much as possible. So this is going to be the final term exam, but we're making a PPT, okay? Each of you is making a PPT representing your country, okay? So Tilo, which country are you representing? Oh, Spain? Uzbek, okay, Uzbekistan, okay. Philippines, Bangladesh, France, Korea, okay. Bangladesh, Germany,
Russia.
Uzbek?
No, Russia.
Russia?
Yeah.
Oh, good!
I love Russia.
Oh, cool! Korea. Oh, that's very good. This is really good. Pakistan, Uzbekistan, Korea, and Bangladesh. Oh, okay. Right.
Like we have a lot of members from Korea.
Oh, it's okay. Oh, so do you want to represent another country than Korea? If any Korea wants to represent a country other than Korea, it's fine. All right. So the scenario is basically we're talking. So you guys are forming globalization working group. So this is a GWG1, GWG2, GWG3. Okay. And you are representing the country of your nationality or a country of your interest. So these two are representing Germany and Russia. And you're basically choosing one topic, one more specific topic related to globalization within your group. So it can be either economy or political or sustainability issues. To say this GWG can choose a topic on environment, the environment, climate change, I'm just giving you an example, and you can choose to talk about climate change, GWG1, and we're going to produce a proposal on climate change from your country's perspective, okay? And I'm gonna let you know how to write it. Does that make sense? Okay? Okay, so let's read. But all the contents that I'm covering today is based on what we have learned so far.
There'll only be like one proposal from one group or
One proposal from one group.
individually one.
Yeah, so you guys have to talk about which issue you want to talk about. So GWG can talk about war on Ukraine and Russian
Do we
war.
have to like prepare reports or like proposal by each?
Yeah.
three
So
individuals?
choose one topic by each group, and you guys have to produce a proposal.
Only one.
Yeah, only one proposal for one person, representing your country. Yeah,
One person.
yeah. No one proposal.
One group.
No. Each student produces one proposal. Okay,
Like
representing your
We
country.
have to do it individually.
Well, the final exam should be like creating a PPT for our own chosen country,
Mm.
and it would be like representing like we should play a role as a globalization working group
Member.
member of
Your
that
country.
country
Yeah,
of
yeah,
my
yeah.
country, and
Yeah.
we should edit the pros and cons of that issues and
No,
Well,
I'm gonna teach you. I'm gonna let you know what you have to write for the proposal.
One group has
One agenda,
yeah.
and you guys have to decide which agenda you're gonna talk about amongst 4 members.
Okay, so we choose the agenda, but every student makes a PPT.
Yeah, each student makes one PPT
Based on-
representing that country's position.
Okay, according to that agenda.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Does
this
it make
group-
sense? Is
this
that
group
clear?
is for final.
Yeah, so that's the presentation. So you're gonna have a presentation, 5 to 10 minutes, representing your country on that agenda, and that's gonna be your final term exam. Okay? On the final, I think it's gonna be 23rd. Okay, on that final class. Okay? So don't freak out. I'm teaching you step by step, and if you know, if it's not clear, then just ask me. Is that clear?
yeah.
All right. Okay, let's go to the first step. Okay, so you have to identify your goal, right? So say GWG sets the agenda for climate change, and the goal can be we will reduce the CO2 emission by 2030. This can be one of the goals that you set, right? And the goals can be many, it doesn't have to be one. It can be many, and it can be both short-term and long-term goals. Okay. Second, whose turn is it? Who was reading it? All right.
Me? The second step? Or
Oh, this
define
is
your
yeah.
objectives. Define your objectives. Prioritize your objectives.
Right.
Rank your goals. Once you have identified your goals, rank them in order of importance. Determine which goals are non-negotiable and which ones you are willing to compromise on. This prioritization will guide your strategy during the negotiation process. Identify deal breakers. Clearly outline what aspects of the deal are essential. These are your non-negotiables. The points on which you are unwilling to compromise. Knowing these in advance will help you maintain focus and avoid making concessions that will undermine your overall goal.
Right. So once you set the agenda, like climate change, you will actually discuss amongst yourselves what kind of goals that you're gonna try to achieve out of the discussion, right? So you just propose lots of different goals, and based upon that, from here you are representing your country. So maybe for Philippines, like CO2 emission is the most important goal, right? For Korea, another thing, maybe like the temperature change, or the ocean temperature, that could be the most important goal. So you guys have to discuss which among the different goals you have to prioritize. So first, second, and third goals. So you rank them. And then for some goals, you can negotiate the range, but for other goals, we can't really make a compromise. So from this on, the argument starts, because different countries have different agendas, right? So for the brainstorming, you basically have to propose lots of different goals, and based on the list of goals, you basically discuss, okay, so this is going to be our first agenda, or second agenda, or third agenda, or a third goal, okay? Does that make sense? Okay? Alright, step 2. Oh. Alright, sorry.
Conduct background research. Gather as much information as possible about the other party. It includes their business objectives, their position in the market, their past negotiation behavior, and any challenges that may be facing. The more you know, the better you can tailor your proposal to meet their needs. Leverage networks. If possible, talk to others who have negotiated with the same party in the past. They might offer insights into the other party's negotiation style and priorities.
Right, so you need to, in real life, I mean, you need to do background research for your proposal. But in this case, you will actually do some research for your country, but it's very important to talk with the other members within your group. So, ask them, what kind of information they gather, and by asking a lot of questions, you can gather the information or the knowledge about the other countries' interests, and then based on that, you can basically set the minimum sort of goals that you can achieve together. So this is a very important step, okay? Not only about your position, but also to know about the other country's position. You have to talk a lot and gather as much information as possible, okay? And actually, in the second half of the class, I'm going to give you a template to write down all these, so you can use this, okay? Or maybe it's better. I think it's better to give it now. You can just have a look, right? This is a template that you can use. You don't have to follow them all, but then they give you like really nice templates to use for your presentation. Okay. The next step.
Anticipate their objectives.
Right.
Put yourself in their shoes. Try to view the negotiation from the other party's perspective.
This is very important. I'll actually look into this, whether you incorporate the other party's perspective. This is an important criteria of evaluation, okay?
What are their goals? What pressures are they under? Understanding this will allow you to anticipate their demands and prepare responses that align your interests
Right.
with theirs. Identify shared interests. Look for areas where your goals and the other party's goals overlap. This shared interest can form the basis of a mutually beneficial agreements and provide a strong foundation for your proposal.
Right, so identifying the shared interest is one of the most important steps that you can take. Any kind of international negotiation, especially with the multi-party talks. So say, like Korea has a very important agenda to reduce the CO2 emission, then you basically have to find out which other country has the shared agenda with you. So maybe France has similar agenda because it's a developed country, so they have a lot of industrial development being done. So their next goal is to have environmental friendly sort of services and productions made available to the public. So you guys might have France and Korea might have a similar agenda. So through nice conversation, productive conversation, find out what kind of shared interests you have. Okay. All right. Could you read? Hello.
Step 3. Develop a clear proposal structure. Introduction. Set the context. Start with a brief introduction that explains the purpose of the negotiation and the context.
Right.
This might include a summary of previous interactions, the current situation, and why you believe an agreement would be beneficial for both parties. State your intent. Clearly state your intent to reach a fair and mutually beneficial agreement.
Right.
This sets a positive tone and position you as a collaborative partner.
Right. So understanding the context is one of the most important steps. So say we are dealing with the issue of the war between Ukraine and Russia, right? And basically researching the contract, not the contract, but the context includes, the historical events that escalated to the war. They had several sort of conflicts, and then basically led to the war. So maybe listing out the important incidents that set them into the war helps to set up the wider context. So, doing some background research in the internet would really help to set the context. All right, next. All right,
Develop a clear proposal structure. Your proposal. Present your offer. Clearly and concisely outline the main points of your proposal.
Right.
Break down the component of your offer, such as price, terms, delivery, timelines, and any other relevant details. Each point should be supported by rational or evidence to justify your position.
Right.
Provide justification. Include data, market analysis, case studies, or precedents to back up your proposal. For
Right.
example, if you're proposing a price, explain how you arrived at that number based on current market trends or cost structures.
Right, so it's very important that you list your proposals in a very clear and concise method, but then you have to back up your proposals with evidence, with a justification, with different data. So you can do some research in the internet, or you go to the library and get the data or like the visual aids to back up your argument, okay? So like clearly setting the proposal, like items for your proposals is important, but then more important is how you justify your proposals, okay? With statistics or I don't know, with like some histories or like with case studies, you can back up your argument or the proposal. All right, mutual benefit.
Develop a clear proposal structure. Mutual benefits. Highlight win-win scenarios. Emphasize how your proposal benefits both parties. For instance, if you're asking for a lower price, you might offer a longer contract duration in return, which provides stability for the other party.
Right.
Use persuasive language. Frame your proposal in a way that aligns with the other party's goals. Use language that appeals to their interest, such as by agreeing to this proposal, you'll benefit from
Right.
something.
So we've actually dealt with like different types of negotiation strategies, and this basically says collaborative strategy is the most effective one. So find out like a win-win scenario that can benefit both your country and the other country as well. And also, you can write down your language in a very polite way, so let's, I think Tilo is doing this very well. You actually make a very good compromise, right? So, so by agreeing, by having this agreement done, maybe Russia or I don't know, Korea will benefit from this and that, so like try to incorporate the interests of the other countries, and try to use as polite language as possible, in your proposal. All right, concessions. We just covered it last week, right? Okay.
Concessions. Outline your flexibility.
Mm.
Clearly state where you are willing to make concessions and why. For example, you might say, while we prefer a delivery time of 30 days, we are open to extending this to 45 days if it helps reduce costs.
Right.
Strategic concessions. Offer concessions that are less important to you but may be valuable to the other party. This can help move the negotiation forward while preserving your key interests.
Right. So, in order to end the negotiation, concessions play a really big role. I think we've covered it in the last class when we were talking about how to end the negotiation effectively. So maybe like for the Ukraine war, they can say, okay, we can have an armistice in like 30 days or like 50 days, but we can actually give you concessions if you were to have the armistice in 30 days, by trying to give you an international aid in like, I don't know, like $10 million. So, have the concessions ready will actually help you to end the deal very fast enough, and also by trying to incorporate the interests of the others, it's gonna enhance the overall quality of the negotiation. All right, so this is important. Support your proposal with data. So this is something that you have to do in between, like from now on to the final term exam. So I think we have about like a month and a half, and you can actually do some research, gather some data. Okay, whose turn is it now?
Visual aids, slides, charts, and graphs.
Mm.
Very applicable include charts, graphs, or tables that visualize
Right.
For instance, a paragraph containing the different scenarios can quickly communicate the financial impacts of your proposal.
Right.
Simplify complex information. Visual aids can make complex information more accessible.
Right.
For example, timeline of delivery lists can clarify the phases of the project, or a pie chart can show how budget allocations would work under your proposal.
Right, so say we are talking about the CO2 emission, and they have a lot of information about the CO2 emission rate in internet, produced by the UN agencies. So you can actually include those statistics, in your proposal. And also, when you deliver your proposal, it's actually better to make it into a chart or like a bar. You can do it with if you can work the Word document. They have a lot of like smart graphics. So it's better to not just writing down in letters, but using the charts and graphs really helps. Okay. All right. Next, use evidence.
Support your proposal with data.
Mm.
Use evidence. Include hard data. Incorporate relevant statistics, financial models, cost-benefit analysis, or industry benchmarks that support your proposal.
Right.
This not only strengthens your argument, but also demonstrates through preparation and professionalism.
Right.
Case studies and precedents.
Right.
Reference similar agreements or industry case studies that align with your proposal. For example, you might cite how a similar agreement benefited another company in a comparable situation.
Right. So I've told you about the statistics, hard data, including the data, visual aids. This is done, but like case studies, it helps a lot. So say we're talking about the Russian-Ukraine war, and including the historical event of another war, or another like war that Ukraine had before, and how much sort of benefits, or how much kind of harm that has been made out of the war, including those historical events, as a case study would actually help you to enhance your position. Okay, so including the case study, but not long, maybe like, I don't know, half a page of like case study, like the incident from the past will help you. All right, address potential objections. Whose turn? Oh, okay. Mm. Right. Mm. Right. So that's why conversations really helps. It's like in this here you have Russia and Germany. I think they have a different. If you were to talk about the Ukraine war, they have a different position. So the Germany would actually object a lot of proposals made by Russia, right? So in this case, like actually expecting what kind of responses or the objections that the other country would raise really helps. And actually, it says preemptive strike. It means you actually address the objections before the other party says about those things. So before Germany says any of the objections, Russia can say, "Oh, okay, I expect they would actually object this in those grounds, but we can actually address these problems in doing this and that." So this is how you actually lessen the pressure. Okay, so this is helpful. So that's why you have to talk a lot with the other country. All right.
Address potential objections.
Keep reading.
Offer solutions. Propose alternatives for each anticipated objection. Offer a compromise or alternative solution. For example, if the other party is concerned about payment terms, you might suggest a phased payment plan.
Right.
Maintain a collaborative tone. When addressing objection, always keep the tone collaborative rather than confrontational. Phrases like "we understand your concern about X" and "here's how we propose to address it" show that you are focused on finding solutions.
Right. This is again, it's in the same line from the previous sort of petition on preemptive strikes. So you try to address the problems the other countries might raise before they actually talk about these things. And even so, you have to have a very collaborative tone. Like don't like say, oh, this is so wrong and we can't really do it. No, don't use this kind of language, especially with working groups within UN. The diplomats, you guys are diplomats representing your country, so you have to be very, very polite. The diplomats are so polite, they use very diplomatic language. So, like try to use these kind of phrases like we understand your concern, but, we try to address the situation in blah, 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 So try to maintain the tone, the collaborative and very polite tone, and also to use very polite diplomatic language. Alright, so and this is how you set the agenda, like basically set the process of agenda in the final round, in the list of actions that you can propose. We've completed? Okay, Tilo.
Yeah. Propose a negotiation framework. Set the agenda. Outline the process. Propose a clear process for negotiation, including key milestones, deadlines, and decision points. For example, we suggest beginning with the discussion of payment terms, followed by delivering schedules, and finally warranty conditions. Timelines and deadlines. Suggest a timeline that is realistic, also creates a sense of urgency.
Right.
For example, we propose reaching a final agreement by a specific date to ensure timeline project commencement.
Right. And so actually, when you propose the actions to be taken for your proposal, it's very helpful to have the milestones. If you go into the Word doc, then they have a sort of template for a milestone. And usually for milestone table, they have a deadline, date set, and actions following. So say like you're trying to have an armistice of the war, then by the end of maybe like by the 1st of December next year, 2025, we are actually I don't know, like the troops, the Russian troops will be evacuated of the city in Ukraine. So like this, so set the specific deadlines for specific actions, so make it as specific as possible. So this is going to be the milestone for actions to be done for your proposals. All right, proposal, roles and R&R, roles and responsibility. Okay,
Roles and responsibilities. Define participation. Clearly define who will be involved in the negotiation from both sides and what their roles will be. For example, our team will include a project manager, a financial officer, and a legal counsel to cover all aspects of the agreement.
Right.
Ensure decision-making authority. Confirm that the participants in the negotiation have the authority to make decisions. This prevents delays caused by needing to seek approvals after agreement have been reached in principle.
Right. So, in making a milestone in your proposal, you can have the dates, deadlines, and specific actions taken, and roles and responsibilities is abbreviated as R&R. It's very important. So Russia person, like military director, like army director, so he's in charge of evacuating the Russian troops from the Ukraine city by December 1st, 2025. Okay, so this is gonna be the one milestone. So having like maybe 5 or 6 milestones being written would actually really actually make the proposal very strong and actionable. All right. Oops. No, all right.
Step 6. Propose a negotiation framework. Outline immediate actions. After presenting your proposal, clearly state the next steps. This could include setting up a follow-up meetings, reviewing additional documents, or preparing Set a follow-up schedule. Propose specific dates and times for follow-up discussions to keep the momentum going. For example, we suggest reconvening next Wednesday to review any revisions and finalize the agreement.
Right. So always, when you are having a negotiation, at the end, you really have to specify the very next step that you will take. So say for the climate change, you can say, okay, we're going to have the next meeting on 15th of December next month to draft the first document for the CO2 emission, reduction of the CO2 emission. So that's gonna be the very next step that you guys will take, right? So always specify the specific things that you are gonna do on the very next as a next step. Okay, does that make sense? All right. So that's gonna be always the final. That's gonna be within the final document of your PPT. So because this is very important. And not only the milestone, because milestones can fail. Sometimes in the middle ground, you guys can decide, we're not gonna do this. This is too much for my country. But like next step, this is the very first step that you can take out of this negotiation. So specifying the next step is very important, and also including the R&R. Who's gonna be in charge of the meeting? Who's gonna be in charge of the draft writing? Specifying that helps. Okay. All right. Whose turn?
Summarize the proposal.
Mm.
Recap key points. Briefly summarize the main points of the proposal, emphasizing the mutual benefits.
Right.
This reinforces the value of the proposal and ensures that the key takeaways are clear. Reaffirm commitment. And by reaffirming your commitment to reaching a mutually beneficial agreement. For example, we believe this proposal offers significant value to both parties and look forward to working together to finalize the details.
Right. So after you write down all the statistics, like specific proposals and agendas, goals, and milestones, and the next step, you can basically summarize the whole proposal in like 3 points, maybe. This is gonna be the summary of the key points, and and then as a last sentence of the proposal, you can say, oh, we believe this proposal offers significant value to all the parties involved, and look forward to working together to finalize the details. So this is going to be the polite language to end the whole proposal. Okay? All right. Who's next?
Request feedback. Encourage dialogue. Invite the other party to provide their feedback.
Mhm.
Ask questions or suggest counter offers. For example, we would appreciate your thoughts on this proposal and are open to discussing any adjustments you feel are necessary.
Right.
Set expectation for response. Politely request a time frame for when you can expect their response. This helps maintain momentum and shows that you are eager to move forward. For example, we look forward to hearing from you by the end of
So feedback is helpful when you're revising your proposal. So I've told you what to include in the proposal, and after you draft the first document, you can actually take it to other member, and you can show it, and you can ask for any comments or feedback. Okay? And after you hear the feedback, you can actually revise it. But it's up to you whether you will revise it or not. All right, who's?
Step 8. Review and revise. Proofread. Ensure accuracy. Carefully proofread the proposal to ensure that it is free of typos, grammatical errors, and inaccuracies.
Right.
A polished document reflects professionalism and attention to detail.
Right.
Check consistency. Ensure that all parts of proposal are consistent, including the figures, dates, and terminology used. Inconsistent details can create confusion and undermine your credibility.
Right. So when you actually have to read your document, and do you know that you can actually use ChatGPT to proofread? So you just type in what you have written, and they will actually correct all the grammar, and also make it very professional. So like you can type in, please proofread this document as to fit the negotiation proposal, and you will actually revise it to fit into the negotiation style, and also correct the grammatical errors. So it's really helpful, and it's free. Okay, so use ChatGPT. I'm not checking on this this time, so you can use it as much as you want. All right, who's
Step 8. Review and revise. Get feedback. Seek a second opinion. Have a college advisor or mentor review your proposal to provide feedback on its clarity, logic, and persuasiveness. This can help identify any areas that need improvement.
Right.
Incorporate feedback. Make necessary revisions based on the feedback you receive.
Right.
Ensure that your proposal is as strong as possible before submitting it to the other party.
Yeah, so this is very important. Gathering feedback from the other party as well as from me. You know, you can actually write your proposal and then like get feedback from me before the final day. You know, I won't mind, you know. So if you can, you know, write down the proposal as, you know, as soon as possible, you know, and like ask me a lot of questions, you know, then you will actually get better feedback. Okay? Prepare for presentation on the final day.
Practice. Rehearse key points. If you will be presenting the proposal in person or via video conference, practice delivering your key points. This will help you speak confidently and clearly, ensuring that your message is effectively communicated.
Right.
Anticipate questions. Prepare for potential questions or challenges that might arise during the presentation. Rehearse your responses so that you can address concerns smoothly and confidently.
Right, so you can practice your presentation before, okay? Oh, actually, it's you know, it's up to you. Okay, be ready for discussion.
Prepare for dialogue. Be ready to engage in a discussion following your presentation. Have your data and supporting materials on hand to reference as needed. Stay flexible. Be open to modifying your proposal during discussion based on feedback you receive. Flexibility can be key to reaching a successful agreement. By following this detailed step-by-step guide, you can craft a negotiation proposal that is not only clear and compelling, but also strategically designed to lead to a successful outcome.
Right. So I think it's gonna be like 5-minute presentation and then like 2 or 3 minutes for feedback, like discussion, like receiving questions. But if your proposal is too long, you can make it in very short presentation, but like give them an appendix or like references for as handouts. So you know, I gave you the templates, right? So this is kind of like an appendix or the reference that you can just give out. You know, so you can make a very concise presentation, but you know you can add like references or like other materials as a appendix, and you can just distribute the materials to the other students during the class. All right, so does it all make sense? Is it clear? All right. What time is it now? Should we take a break and afterwards I can explain the template, or just do it now? What do you prefer? After break?